Hi, I'm Kyle, and I maintain the instruments for Inspire Music. In this video, we're going to learn how to properly assemble, disassemble, and maintain a trumpet. Here we have a trumpet. There are several parts of the trumpet that we'll be concerned with today. The valves or pistons, where we place our fingers to change the notes. And the slides. The slides are used to change the tuning of the trumpet, or sometimes of individual notes. The main slide you will be concerned with is the tuning slide, which helps us change the pitch of the entire trumpet so we can play in tune with the rest of our group. In order to assemble the trumpet, all we have to do is take the mouthpiece out of the case and place it into the end of the trumpet. We don't want to push or twist the mouthpiece in, as this can cause the mouthpiece to become stuck, and we have to use a special tool to remove the mouthpiece, and so that can be a very big inconvenience. So it's best to just simply place the mouthpiece lightly into the trumpet. When playing the trumpet, a couple of things to keep in mind. We don't want to set the trumpet on its bell, like so. While the bell may seem like a very convenient stand for the trumpet is in fact very top-heavy, and any slightest bump to it can cause it to fall over. The metal that the trumpet is made of, brass, is very soft, and it's easily dented and damaged by knocks, dings, and falls. So it's very important to try to prevent the trumpet from falling or getting hit against things. Also, when playing, we want to make sure that we don't turn the screws on the trumpet. We have one here at the top of the slide and one here underneath the slide. These help keep the trumpet properly assembled, and if the screws are loosened, they can fall out and become lost. When we're done playing our trumpet, we want to make sure that we clean the trumpet out correctly. The trumpet has two keys on it, called water keys, which we use to remove the excess water inside the trumpet. Once we're done playing our trumpet, as you can see, I'm not a professional trumpet player. However, we want to release the water from the trumpet, and we'll do so by blowing into the trumpet and opening the keys, as you see here, to get all of the excess water out. This is important because the water left inside the trumpet can cause damage to the metal, and we want to make sure that the trumpet continues to work for a long time. When you're done playing the trumpet and you're ready to put it away, we simply remove the mouthpiece, place it back in the case, and place the trumpet in the case. We want to make sure that the trumpet goes into the case with the valves facing you. If it goes in backwards, the case won't close correctly, and that can cause damage to the trumpet. Okay, so there we are. In order to ensure smooth operation of the valves of the trumpet, the valves have to be oiled roughly once a week. To oil a valve correctly, we first have to remove it from its casing by unscrewing the cap and pulling the valve out of its case. We then take our valve oil and trace 3 straight lines, 1, 2, 3, down the length of the valve. This will ensure that the correct amount of oil gets placed on the valve. We don't want too little or too much. When we're placing the valve in the trumpet, we find the number stamped on the side of the valve and orient that number so that it's facing where the player would be on the trumpet. Our mouthpiece would be off to this side, and so the number needs to point that way. We put the valve back into the trumpet and tighten the cap. Once the cap is tightened, we twist the valve lightly until we hear a click. This ensures that the valve is properly aligned inside the trumpet. Should there be no air passing through the trumpet, one of the valves is most likely misaligned, and so it is important to take the valves out and check the alignment of those numbers to make sure that the air can pass through the trumpet. Sometimes a trumpet can experience a sticky valve, where the valve does not rise immediately upon being released. It can often get stuck partway up or come up very, very slowly as it's released. In order to remedy this situation, most of the time this valve simply needs to be cleaned. In order to clean the valve, we remove it from the casing, like we did for oiling. Pulling the valve out, we take a paper towel and simply wipe the valve off, trying to remove any junk that has built up on the valve in the course of it being in the instrument. Then we take our oil and apply, again, 3 streaks down the side of the valve. We replace the valve the same as we did previously by locating our number at the top of the valve and inserting it so that the number faces where the player would be. We tighten the cap on the valve, making sure to align the threads correctly. Once tightened, we rotate the valve until we hear our click. I managed to get this valve in correctly the first time. However, we notice that it doesn't rotate, and so that means that it is in properly. We push the valve down to ensure that it's correct and that it moves smoothly, and then we have an unstuck valve. When putting our trumpet away, there are several items that go in the case with the trumpet, such as our valve oil. However, one item that should never go in the case with the trumpet is our sheet music. When we place the music on top of the case, it takes up extra space and prevents the case from closing properly, which can place pressure on the trumpet. The brass of the trumpet is a very soft metal, and so all that extra pressure over time can ultimately result in dents and bends in the metal. Nothing should ever, including our valve oil, be placed on top of the trumpet. Everything should be placed away from it. Music can be stored in a folder outside of the case, or if your case has one, a top pocket.